So, Vince, do you think the government is too involved in housing?
Oh, boy. That's a loaded question, Andrew. I don't think they are. I think if they weren't, we'd see a big collapse in what our mortgage market looks like and what our housing market looks like. I know there's a lot of folks who say, let's make sure everything's privatized and get the government out of all of this stuff here. But I don't think that's a good way to keep our economy, running and people in homes, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, but I know you're anti-home ownership, so it kind of conflicts with the spirit of trying to put more people in homes.
Just because I don't believe the math actually works for people who buy a house and how it works out for them as an investment, versus renting and taking the down payment, all the rest of the money, and investing it somewhere else. I'm against losing money, and I'm against having thinner bank accounts because you're involved with something that isn't going to help you out that way. But I know that people want to be in houses. If they want to be in a house, most people, they need a mortgage. They need government involvement to get them into something that they can afford the monthly payments on. So for that, I do believe that the government ought to be involved, and it ought to stay involved. There's a lot of talk about getting the GSEs out of conservatorship, and probably that's right. But the notion that they should all get out of the industry completely and the government should not be backing mortgages, I think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, the reality is when the economy crashes, there's not a lot of levers that the federal government has, and one of them is, of course, interest rates, because they lower the interest rates, and eventually there's more money towards housing, and that's going to get us out of any kind of economic calamities we're facing.
I do wish that there were some levers that other government agencies could use to counteract when the Fed decimates the housing industry, decimates the mortgage lending industry, which it's done over the last 2 years. I mean, this whole issue of the idea that we need to correct inflation, we need to get the economy back. Yeah, I understand that, but taking a look at how disproportionately it has affected the housing industry it's a crime, frankly, what the Fed has been doing in this market. Now they don't want to put any kind of hope that what action they're going to be taking is going to actually help in the spring market, but they should, because we all need some hope in this thing here. This is a terrible, terrible market, and it's terrible what they've done to people who are trying to finance homes and people who are trying to buy homes and the industry that supports all of that. I think it's terrible. Don't you think it would be great if we had another agency that could step in and offset some of this stuff here? If the GSEs had a better role in setting pricing, or someone else that was willing to buy these bonds on a government level.
So you want more government
I would love to see actually a little bit more government involvement here.
Okay. So listen, I think the ability to provide stimulus, the ability to kind of have some direction over the interest rates is great. I don't know how much more. I mean, you want to start a whole nother agency? Jeez. So this is another like CFPB kind of agency.
I didn't ask for another CFPB, but I think some other agency that's there for promoting housing,
more regulations,
and has the ability to make it happen. That I would be for. So
wow, so more regulations and less people owning homes. Is that?
I'm actually for both of those things.
Wow. Do you know we're trying to actually get more people to do more mortgages? This is like it's the kind of people read our magazine and they learn how to do more mortgages.
I know it's an unpopular stance, but I think that's probably the way to go. All right, thank you.
For more on these and all of today's top stories, go to nationalmortgageprofessional.com.